Stand by.
Good evening and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we are live from Studio Vanguard and we are linked in with the following repeaters.
Tonight we are live on, pulling up the list again. Tonight we are live on Watkinsville, Flagship, Jersey, Zebulon, Toccoa, Peachtree, McDonough, Noonan, Buckhead, Lula, Columbus, Rome, Dallas, Lookout Mountain, White Oak Mountain, Fort Mountain, Cates Cove, Mount Roosevelt, Ottawa, Georgetown, and Chattanooga.
Awesome. Tonight our RF coverage encompasses approximately 41,000 square miles. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I would like to thank everyone who has made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 947, WQYR 514. My name is Julie.
And this is WSAL 368, Atlanta 263. My name is Rogers.
And this is WRUB 711, Atlanta 519. My name is Gary.
On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we would like to hear. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Guest check-ins are welcome from anyone with a valid FCC call sign. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and when you sign out of the net. Also, you can tune in to our YouTube channel and follow along, or even better, tune in after the net and hear how you sound to us right here in Studio Vanguard. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment so we know you were watching, because these interactions mean the most to help our channel grow. So tonight's topic is going to be football, I believe. So no Julie's tips, but we do have some announcements. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Mike for this week's announcements.
Thanks, Julie. This is WRWM 344, Blue Ridge 63, with this week's news and announcements live from Blue Ridge. I've got some upcoming gatherings to tell you about and some updates to a few of these, so pay attention to these dates and a few changes here. These meetups are a great way to meet fellow North Georgia members in and around your area. First one up is the Biggins Barbecue Gathering, scheduled for Saturday, August 16th. That's a week from this Saturday at 11:30 a.m. That event is still on, although the original organizer has stepped down. We do think it's a great location and a great opportunity for all North Georgia GMRS members, family, and guests. Everyone is invited. The restaurant is located on 515 between Jasper and LJ, so it's very convenient for those in that area. If you're early, you can score a North Georgia GMRS sticker while they last, and rumor has it there will likely be a few giveaways. More to come on that. The Peachtree Corners Brunch Bunch meets the third Saturday of every month at JR's Log House in Peachtree Corners. However, since it is the same day as the Biggins lunch, Pamela has deferred her gathering so that she and Ernest can go attend the event at Biggins. So I'd invite the Peachtree Corners crowd to come hang out with Justin, Pamela, and the rest. You can still reach out to Pamela at Atlanta 849 if you have any questions or need more information. The Northeast Bunch had their monthly lunch meetup about a week and a half or so ago at the Roosters Cafe in Dahlonega, so they may as well come join Dana, Justin, Jonathan, Pamela, and the gang at Biggins on Saturday, August 16th at 11:30 a.m. But the next Roosters gathering with the Northeast Bunch crew will be held Wednesday, August 27th at 11 a.m. As always, all current and future members are welcome to attend. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Atlanta 403 Bobby or Joe, Gainesville 44. Let me break. The next West Side Luncheon is being moved from Saturday, August 9th, this Saturday, at the Taco Mac to Saturday, August 16th at the Biggins Barbecue. Imagine that. Come join David, Lisa, Dana, Justin, Jonathan, and Pamela, and everyone else at Biggins on Saturday, August 16th at 11:30 a.m. Are you noticing a pattern here? Let's join the Rabbit Hole crew and enjoy some good wings, great fellowship. We'll figure out if Biggins has rabbit wings. I'm not holding my breath. The Kennesaw Gathering will not meet in August due to some family commitments, but they will have the next Meet and Geek session on Tuesday, September 9th at noon at the Old Town Grill on Cobb Parkway, around the corner from the McCollum Airport in Kennesaw. On that September 9th date, you can bring your radio if you have programming issues and you need help. They'll have a mobile test bench set up where they can help assist after lunch if needed. You can reach out to Ed, Atlanta 557, on the air or via email at wrqg806@gmail.com. If you plan to attend, let him know what radio you have so that he ensures that he's got the right programming cable and CPS available. Once your radios are programmed, you should join Ed, David, Lisa, Dana, Jonathan, and Justin, and Pamela at the Biggins on Saturday, August 16th. Biggins is located on the 515 highway between Jasper and Ellijay. Our friends at the Gwinnett Amateur Radio Society will be holding a 2-day training session to assist in completing your general class amateur license. They're holding that on August 23rd and 24th over off Airport Road at the Gwinnett County Airport, Briscoe Field, in the 690 hangar. There's a $25 fee. That includes the training and the exam fee that'll be given on Sunday at 4 p.m., so it's a 2-day event. You can get more information on this at gars.org/GARS. That's GARS.org/GARS. They do note that pre-registration is required, but I can't guarantee any free salads. And last up, don't forget the Chattanooga Ham Fest 2025 is coming Friday, October 3rd and Saturday, October 4th. If you haven't already, make sure you get that on your calendars. The Chattanooga Amateur Radio Club and the North Georgia GMRS Network have teamed up to host this show at a great new venue called the Colonnade in Ringgold, Georgia. You can visit the Hamfest website at hamfestchattanooga.net for more information. This year's GMRS Fest will feature several speakers and forums from our network with topics including GMRS dipole antennas, Meshtastic, radios and preparedness, and GMRS for beginners. North Georgia GMRS, Hobbit Communications, and a brand new entity to be announced will be among the many vendors at this first GMRS Fest. Let me break. That's it, actually. That's the end of this week's announcements. If you have any questions, comments, or news to share that you want us to publicize in upcoming week's announcements, send an email to justin@nggmrs.org. All right, Julie, that's it for this week's announcements. Back to you.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Mike. That's a lot, as always. Very active group. So let's go ahead and we're going to take check-ins, and we will begin with flagship. So any member utilizing the flagship repeater, please check in now. Need to do it again.
This is WRZG 694 Atlanta 785 Wichita County.
Should I do it again? Because he's checking in.
Yeah. No, I think... Yeah, go ahead and do it again.
This is
Or not.
Atlanta 293.
They just know the routine.
Thomaston, Officer Thomas,
Alright,
your repeater.
Then I'm going to go ahead and...
Name here is Steve.
Okay.
I love you.
Call sign Whiskey Sierra India Tango 925. Check me in and out, please.
This
Good
is
night.
Thank you, Julie.
Justin,
Thank
good
you.
to see you.
this is WRXT 576 Atlanta 610. David in Marietta, listening while I'm packing up the rig. Check me in and check me out, please.
This is WRXM 345, Gainesville 43, David and Winder.
Check.
Checking in, checking out.
This is Atlanta 317, WSHF 269. Checking in, checking out. I'll have my ears on, waiting for my casserole to come out.
This is Chattanooga 260, WSCM 494, Colt in downtown Dalton. Checking in.
PSFR 920, Atlanta 306, George Loganville, checking in and checking out. I think somebody walked over me a while ago. This is WSEZ 683, Atlanta 938. This is Don in Woodstock, checking in and checking out.
WSJH 522, Case Cove 30. My name is Ben, checking in from Maryville. You guys have a great night.
This is WROB 245, Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth, corners right now, and by relay, Atlanta 848, Ernest in Duluth, and I will be in and he will be out.
This is WRYR 428, Atlanta 355, checking in and out from Canton on the road.
All right, let's go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. But before we do, I probably should ID. This is WQIR 514, Atlanta 946. Finally made it.
Welcome back.
Thanks for getting things started, guys. I appreciate all the efforts at making things happen, even though I wasn't here. So
We knew you were en route.
that's nice to know that should something happen, this program is in great hands. So good stuff, and thanks to Blue Ridge 63 for kicking off the logging at 7 o'clock. You know, I tried to check in. Radio conditions are a little rough out there. I heard McDonough 22 comment that he was having a hard time, and I see in the notes that we had a hard time receiving him. I could hear him just fine, but it's just weird radio conditions out there. So I think our check-in roster might be a little bit light tonight, but we'll make it work either which way. So let me go ahead and grab our YouTube check-ins while we've got a chance, and then we'll go to our radio check-ins. We'll take one more round of check-ins before we start tonight's program. So on YouTube, we have Atlanta 273, Mitchell in Canton. We have Gainesville 63, Willard in Homer. Atlanta 557, Ed in Kennesaw. Atlanta 927, Connie in Buford. Rome 12, we have Mark in Rome. And also we have McDonough 45, Kai in McDonough checking in on YouTube. And on RF, we have Atlanta 785, Rick in Marietta is in and out. Atlanta 610, David in Marietta, also in and out. Gainesville 43, David in Winder, in and out. Atlanta 317, David in Sandy Springs is in and out. Chattanooga 260, Colt in Dalton is in with us tonight. Atlanta 306, George in Loganville, in and out. Atlanta 938, Don in Woodstock, in and out. Cades Cove 30, Ben in Maryville is... Oh, that's Maryville, Tennessee. I was trying to think, where's Maryville, Georgia?
Yeah, not sure about that one.
That's Marysville, isn't it? Way down there around Sandusky or beyond? You're not sure?
I'm not sure. Not sure about that one.
All right. Well, maybe I'm making it up. I'm not sure. But Ben is up around Knoxville, so...
Maryville is...
Completely different Maryville than
different
than what I was
Maryville.
Trying to imagine.
He's in downtown Blount County.
Blount
in
County.
Maryville.
Very nice. To get to the point.
Right.
We have Atlanta 849 who is in tonight, and we have Atlanta 848 Ernest in Duluth. Ernest is in and out. Atlanta 355 Damon in Canton is in and out, and that is what we have for check-ins at this time. It's time for me to break. So with that in mind, we'll take one more round of additional check-ins. Any repeater anywhere. Net control standing by.
This is Anna 293 Whiskey Sierra India Tango 925. Check me in and out, please, sir.
This is WSJK 983 in Marietta, checking in and checking out.
This is Atlanta 350, Whiskey Sierra Hotel Talk 331, Buckhead repeater, checking in and out.
Oh my golly, that was loud.
This is WSGS 735, Noonan 40, Arestus in Palmetto, Georgia.
Yeah, something about that Noonan repeater. Everybody comes across it really loud.
Yeah.
All right, Net Control is going to go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We've got Atlanta 293, Steve in Thomaston, Georgia. Steve, we've got you in and out tonight. We heard WSJK 983. We didn't get a name with that, but we did hear Marietta, Georgia. We've got you in the log. We heard Atlanta 350, Ted in Tucker is in and out. And we heard Noonan 40, Orestes in Palmetto is, we didn't have an in and out. We're going to mark you as in for now. arrest us. And if you're there when we come to you, that'd be great. If not, then we'll figure it out along the way. But hope you stick around. It'll be a while before we get to you, but I don't know. Rogers, do you know anything about football?
I know a little bit.
Yeah.
Went to Georgia Southern University, so we had a really good football team there when I was there.
Okay.
And had a lot of fun going to the games and everything.
That was. I haven't gone to college games, but I think that'd be a lot of fun. I've been to a lot of high school games, and I don't know how you can go to a high school game and not just have a great time. There's so much energy. The kids on the field, they're putting their heart out there, and it's almost always a great game. It's either a really, really good game or a really, really bad game. But either way, it's fun. 56-0, those kind of games. You get to watch the bench warmers get out and play. And
right.
And so it turns into amateur hour, but at the same time, you get to see people playing that don't ordinarily play. You rarely get that, in the pro games, unless there's an injury. Those bench warmers will stay on the bench.
Well, it was like that at my high school. I mean, I was in the band, so I attended every football game by
Right.
default, but we never won one game my whole 4 years in high school.
Was that right?
Maybe not one. I'm not sure, but we didn't win a handful of games in 4 years. So it was all about the band for me, and being there supporting the team and everything. But football in high school for me, I don't know. It was a different story.
Well, 3 of my 4 kids were in marching band, so we've got a lot of years with marching band and volunteering and contributing time and energy and marching band for high school kids is a pretty big commitment, big investment in time, and it's a big commitment to the band, and also a big commitment to the school, because marching band is called upon to participate in so many things. Beyond the football games, there are other things that the marching band is expected to be a part of as well. Pep rallies and other sporting events. Let me break. And so that's one thing that I remember the football coach in Fort Wayne telling his teams, his players, that if you think you guys work hard at practice, you should join marching band, because those kids really put in the hours. Now, that wasn't so much the case here in Georgia with the marching band. The level of practice was nowhere near what it was back in Indiana, but it was a great time, and I think the kids had probably more fun here. But it was neat being a part of that, and of course, the football games. That was always so much fun, and the energy. That's one thing that I kind of miss, is being at those games and being just around all that really good energy.
It was the flavor of Friday night, right? It was because Rogers and I were talking. We were both band brats, so it was the smells. It was you had all these little different elements going. You had the press box. You had the band doing their thing. You had the concession stand, which was a whole.
Oh yeah,
it's another
burnt
animal.
Hot dogs and
right.
burnt nacho cheese.
Right. Some of the best, right? Some of the best. But I think it's the ambiance, and that rolls to our topic tonight of football. It's the ambiance for Southeastern Conference football.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ambiance now for Falcons and NFL. They all bring a unique flavor, I guess.
Yeah, and if it's all about winning or losing, you might not be there for the right thing, because there's a lot more to it than that. Just the spirit of the competition, I think, is a lot of fun. So, there's a lot of college football fans who are going to say, hey, that guy's nuts, winning and losing. It's all about the winning. But you can look at it that way. But when you take football, one of the things that we've done with football is we've turned it into fantasy football, right? So it's not so much about whether or not the team wins or loses as it is about how well your players do. And then it becomes a completely different game, because you're watching various games to see how your players that you've picked are performing on any given week. And rather than having the favorite team that you're rooting for, you have a group of players that you're cheering on because you want that player to do well. You don't care whether they win or lose. You just want that player to put points on the board or to put points on your fantasy football league. So that's another interesting aspect of the game, and something that, you know, when we were looking at, when I was involved with the kids in marching band, fantasy football was a thing, but it wasn't a thing that I was engaged in. I didn't really know that much about it. But pretty neat stuff, and I'm waiting for that light to come on. There it is.
Go.
Timing. Okay, let's break. But that's tonight's topic, and before we go all the way to the top of the roster, well, I guess this is sort of at the top of the roster because Blue Ridge 63 is right there. I don't know how I made it to the top of the roster because I was like the last one here. But Blue Ridge 63 is here with us tonight, and you know, there's a whole room in their house that's dedicated to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I don't think that's necessarily Mike's team. Whose team is that, Mike?
This is Blue Ridge 63. No, I claim the Chiefs as well. It's a both of us thing. We're both originally from Kansas. Grew up watching the Chiefs, and that's the reason for the front room looking the way that it does.
Well, that's a lot of fun, and so how does that play out then? Are you a Chiefs team fan, or do you guys do the fantasy football team, the fantasy football league, and pick players from various teams?
Yeah, good question. Mainly just a Kansas City Chiefs fan as a team for me, but that's excuse me, that's not necessarily the case for Blue Ridge 64, who happens to be standing here. So I'll pass the mic to her and let her talk a little bit about her fantasy football stuff, because she is way, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but she's way deeper into it than I am.
So go Chiefs. Let's just start there. Pretty much the best football team ever. When it comes to fantasy football, we do have players on my team that are from the Chiefs because we're a stacked team, so we would naturally want those people on my fantasy team. But we also choose players from other teams too, because I can acknowledge that while the Chiefs players are the best, that other teams do have some players that are worthwhile on my team.
Oh, very good stuff. So it's a kind of a mixed bag. You lead with the Chiefs, but then you fill in some of the spots with other key players. You know, it's good to have you know, some bench warmers too, in case there's an injury. I don't know how that works in fantasy leagues. Do you get to sub out players if somebody has a bad week? No, you don't know.
I'm not sure.
All right.
I did a fantasy football once, and by fluke came in third place.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but
you know, Julie has done fantasy football, and you know, the way that she picks players is based on whether or not she likes their uniform and if she thinks they're cute. And somehow she does pretty well with that. It's funny because she was in a fantasy football league with her former work group, and you know, it was one of those things where they would trash talk all week long about this coming week's fantasy football league, and then the next Monday she would come in, you know, here's a hat if you'd like to eat it.
So she would rub it in their face once she won, I guess. Or
yeah, but she would do it in a classy way.
Okay.
You know,
yeah.
so she would make posters. So one of the things that Julie used to do at work is make posters with. She would tape candy bars and stuff to it for people's birthdays and whatnot, and then she would make fantasy football league cry posters.
Oh.
And with you know, little crybaby candies and the Sour Patch and the Ring Pop, because it's a sucker.
Wow.
You know, all of
Yeah.
those things would subtly communicate on this big piece of poster board that she's not bragging or anything, but y'all are losers.
Well, that's like you said, that's a classy way to kind of put it out there, and still get your point across.
Yeah. So she had a lot of fun, but she's not really. She's disengaged from that work group, and so I think Free Salad and Side Salad are going to have to kind of rope her back into to the fantasy football thing. Melissa, do you think that's something you're going to accomplish this year?
Of course we can get her roped back into fantasy. It's one of the best pastimes for this time of the year that you could possibly have. So we'll have to start our own little fantasy football league for North Georgia.
I like it, and I guess that's something we'll have to ask as we go through the roster to see if we have anybody else in the mix that wants to be involved in a North Georgia fantasy football league. Rogers, you wanna head that up? Is that a project you want to take on?
That's fine with me. And you know what? I'll actually join in and play because you never know. Like, I came in third place when I did it once with some friends of mine, and they were really adamant about it. I just kind of haphazardly picked a team.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, what if I actually put a little thought into it?
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah, and see, I would be much of the same mind that I would be looking probably not at players based on their statistics and their likely outcome of future games. I would probably be looking at players because their name reminds me of something, or I like the color of their uniform, or there's something about where they're from that connects with me. Because I don't know anything about any of them. I don't know who the stars are right now. I don't know who's big or who's not. We used to watch a lot of football. I used to watch Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan. Does Matt even still play?
Whew. I don't know.
I don't know.
You know, Gary?
I don't know.
So that tells me probably not.
Yeah.
I really haven't been connected with the NFL for quite some time, and I don't even know who's who these days. And quite frankly, the last couple of years that I've watched games, I've probably watched more college football than NFL, and those games are fun to watch. I think they're a lot more fun to watch than the NFL games. It seems like there are fewer commercials, and there's just more action. It just seems surprising plays. The NFL, when you watch those plays, you can map out the next 3 plays before they even happen, and you just can't do that with college ball. It's full of surprises.
Well, I feel like the college players are a little bit more hungry to play. They're trying to get to that professional level. Like, winning is more put on the pedestal. NFL football, you lose. You still get to drive home in your Ferrari and to go home to your mansion. So not quite the same, I guess, motivation. I don't know.
Well, I think there's some of that too, but I think that there's also, in the college games, they're willing to put it all out there because they've got so much more to lose. It's winner take all, and it's like that for every game. So I think you're right. There's a little more hunger there, and I think that makes the game more exciting. So it's a shame that we can't reproduce that drive in the NFL, but I don't know.
It's kind of like some of your favorite music artists. That first. Let me break. That first album that they come out with, that first record, it's great. It had all hearts, but kind of as it goes down the road, you kind of miss that old, song, that old, person that they were.
Well, and speaking of music connections to football, is it true that Taylor Swift owns the Kansas City Chiefs? Blue Ridge 63 to 64. Do you have anything to say to that?
I'm not sure that we heard the question. It's cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, I've got a report of that happening also. I'm not quite sure. We're watching the PTT, and it's pretty solid, so maybe it's network traffic that's causing the dropouts. But the question revolved, Rogers had some comments related to music in the NFL, and I was asking if there was any truth to the rumor that Taylor Swift now owns the Kansas City Chiefs.
She does not, but they should make her a part owner in the Kansas City Chiefs at this point. She is selling a lot of merchandise for Kelsey, so I think she deserves a little bit of equity in this.
Well, she's not only selling merchandise, but she's selling tickets. Those stadiums that the Chiefs play at have been jam-packed, and a lot of people are going to also see a football game.
I mean, who wouldn't want to go to a Chiefs game and see Taylor Swift? It's like two great things all at once.
Yeah, I suppose they're, yeah. Well, with that, let's see if we have any other Taylor Swift fans out here amongst the fray, and check in with Atlanta 250 Dana in Dahlonega. Dana, do you have a fantasy football league that you particularly play in? You want to join the North Georgia GMRS Fantasy Football League?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say good evening to you, Justin, Mike out there in Radio Land, and then you got Rogers and Gary there, so y'all do a fantastic job. Let me break before I make a monumental remark here.
Sounds like it's gonna be
Personally,
big.
as far as Taylor Swift goes, I truly believe she has single-handedly ruined music. Don't like her, can't stand her, don't want to watch her, really don't care anything about it. Anyway, as far as fantasy football, no, I do not get into that. My extent with the sports was high school football, and when my nephews were both growing up and going, through the different varsity, junior varsity teams, me and a bunch of parents would run the concession stand and sneak out and sit in the stands and watch the game from time to time. But had a lot of fun doing it, being the behind-the-scenes support. Let me break. Yeah, as far as fantasy football, no, I'm going to stay out of it and just be a good old radio nerd.
All right, Dana's going to play it safe. That sounds, I suppose that's one way to go. I'm on the fence as to whether I'm going to participate or not, because I just don't know that the football season is fairly long. It's not as long as NASCAR, but it's a pretty long season, and I'm just not sure that I have the attention span to see it through. What do you think about? It's a solid 12 weeks, is it not?
It takes a lot of time and effort, and I tried it. They had it at work, and the first season, the ladies beat the men.
Yeah,
because they were picking colors and cutest coaches' wives. Yeah. And I sit there with 2 laptops and an iPad researching the draft and what they eat for dinner.
Uh-huh.
And the ladies won because they like the burgundy color.
Right.
So I decided, like Dana, that fantasy football really wasn't for me. I don't think.
All that research and study would have gotten you a poster from Julie.
Right.
Very good. Well, Dana, I hear tell that there is some sort of an amateur radio. What is that? That's a simplex function that's going to be happening tomorrow night. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, sir. Of course I will. It is the Friday night at 9 2-meter simplex challenge on good old Mr. Pete's repeater, the N4KHQ, starting at right around the 7:15 hour. And what we're shooting for is a record attendance. Some folks out there says that we're not up to the challenge, and I believe we are. And what I'm doing is requesting that all the amateur licensed folks out there that are in listening distance and can get into the 2-meter or Pete's 2-meter repeater. Let me break. To actually sign in support of whether you participate in the challenge or not. That's fine. You can in your area if you're far away. And you can also just, hang with us right there at the repeater and see who you can talk to. So, and it's always good to know who your Simplex neighbors are. But that is what we're doing. We're actually challenging the challenge. So see if y'all can't sign in and support a good cause. Back to you.
Very good, Dana. And all I need is a GMRS license to participate, right?
No, sir. Unfortunately, it is for amateur licensed folks, technician class and above only. You can, if you have a 2-meter radio, you can listen, but you can't transmit unless you hold those licenses. Sorry to say.
So if you're only listening, would that make you half simplex?
That would make it, I'm not going to say make you, but it would make it simple.
Well, you have to see about Bobby for an ICOM radio for that purpose. So if you want to monitor the simplex net, you can do that, but you would have to know what frequencies to tune to. So we're going to start off, the simplex net is going to start off on a repeater. Dana, why don't you come back with the frequencies and tones for that repeater, and who owns that repeater? Is that a North Georgia GMRS repeater?
No, you're catching me off guard. I don't have the frequencies. I know it's
That's my purpose.
146.835 with a positive offset of, I think, 100. I'm not sure. Mike, you might be able to help me out with that. Do you know the frequencies to Mr. Seabolt's repeater or the offsets?
Comment?
Hey, that sounds like somebody that knows. Go ahead, comment.
146.835 on the receive. It's a plus 600, and the tone is 100. So you're going to be listening on 146.835, transmitting on 147.235, CTCSS 100. Back to net control. WRKN 464. My apologies for stepping in, boys.
Not at all, Todd. You're always the voice of reason. I appreciate that. And, I'd also like to make one other statement. My apologies go out to Miss Side Salad up there in the Blue Ridge area for my remarks about Taylor Swift. I truly apologize there, Melissa. Get back to you, net control.
Well, Taylor Swift is a tough topic because... I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, but I don't like her music. So how do you reconcile that? Well, I think that Taylor Swift has done a lot of cool things in the music industry and for the music business. And I think that that she is and continues to be a positive influence within the industry. I just don't care for the music. But, as a person, I think she's done some pretty cool things. And she made a lot of money on that Eras tour, and then she went and shared that money with the people that helped make it happen. Also, I think that's pretty cool. So these are things you don't hear of people in the music industry doing, and she stands out for those reasons. But I when it comes to her music, I would just shake it off.
I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking of who might be joining the net late tonight, and coming in to, find out about antennas or radio coverage or propagation, and they hear the topic of Taylor Swift.
and they would likely just shake it off.
They would.
Yeah. Okay, it's time to turn the dial, and right. Yeah, but good stuff, Dana. And I mean, we should probably get back to something that radio nerds do want to hear about, and that would be, I think, the 2-meter challenge. So I would invite everyone, if you've got an amateur radio license, tune in and participate in a 2-meter net. Now, I'm going to have Dana come back and talk about when the net starts and how where we're going to find that net. That's on Mr. Pete's repeater, located on the flagship site. So if you can hear us on the flagship repeater, you probably have a pretty good chance of getting in on Mr. Pete's repeater. So if you can, you guys are going to put that back up there again while Dana comes back. Dana, go ahead and talk some more about the net. What time is it? It's tomorrow night, I assume.
Yes, sir, and I do believe I doubled on you in the very beginning of that a little bit. My apologies. But yes, tomorrow starting, you can start signing in right around the 7:15 hour, 7:15 p.m. And Mr. Mark well, we're going to put somebody else at the helm tomorrow night, and Josh, Dallas 6'4", will be the main man, and Mark is going to be in training mode and, sort of help him out on the other side there. So 7:15 on the 146835 N4KHQ repeater. Should be a lot of fun, we hope to hear you there. We really do.
All right, very good. So the Friday night at 9 2-meter simplex challenge starts at 7:30 or 7:15-ish. Sometime after 7, but before 7:30 on Mr. Pete's repeater. So very good stuff. That's going to be 146.835 megahertz with a positive offset of 6 and 100 hertz tone. So go ahead and get your radios programmed. If you're not sure how to program your radio, go to the North Georgia GMRS Facebook page and ask, and I'm sure that we'll get you some help in getting your radio programmed for tomorrow night's Simplex Challenge on the 2-meter side. Dana, is there going to be a GMRS challenge as well?
Well, yes, sir, there will be without fail. It'll be myself and Jonathan being the normal co-host there. And it's going to start at 8 p.m. sharp. We start taking early chickens, and we will take early chickens all the way up to the half past the hour mark, where we will start with a formal opening and announcements. And then we will kick it off right around 8:40. We will start testing frequencies. So yes, tomorrow night on the Monument repeater, which is also right there at Flagship. Hear you there.
All right, sounds like it's going to be a busy night tomorrow night, and I'll have to see if I can break away and participate in some of that. Typically, about that time on Friday nights, I'm in a process of becoming horizontal. By the time tonight gets done and an early start tomorrow, Fridays I'm pretty well wiped out. But we'll see what can happen, because I've got nothing going on Saturday, except a week from Saturday we're all going to gather at Biggins, right?
I plan to be there.
Yeah, fantastic.
It sounds like a big event.
I think so. And I've looked at their menu, and it looks like there's plenty to offer beyond just barbecue. So if that's not what you're up to, you should be fine. They've got wings, they've got salads, they've got all kinds of food. So I think that that'll be really good. And I'm looking forward to, I happened to check in with Dallas 20 and asked him, if he was gonna go to Biggins, and he said, well, I've got the Rabbit Hole was supposed to have their gathering at Taco Mac this Saturday. But we've got a project cooking for this Saturday, and it's a big one. And so a lot of us are going to be engaged in that. And it's going to be really hard for David to be engaged in a luncheon in Marietta and the project way up north. So it kind of works in his favor. So David's going to ask his Rabbit Hole folks to meet instead at Biggins. And I know that Pamela has already done that with her Northeast bunch that are going to go. And I've spoken with Bobby, and he likes Pamela's idea very well. So he's asking the Roosters crew to come join us at Biggins. And I've spoken with Ronnie. Now, I asked Ronnie if he was going to have a gathering, and he said yes, and it was going to be Saturday, and I don't even remember what date. But he didn't give me a time. He didn't give me because I know that sometimes they have it at Champy's, sometimes they have it at Sugar's Ribs, sometimes they have it out at a farm somewhere in the middle of a field with a pond and trees and walking trails, and sounds like it's a beautiful place. But I don't know where it's going to be held, so we didn't include it in the announcements because Ronnie was being particularly cryptic in his response. Oh, there he is now. In any case, hopefully next week we'll have better information about Ronnie's lunch gathering, and maybe we'll have some of the folks from way up around Chattanooga show up at Biggins, right there off of 515, 575 if you're coming out of Woodstock. You just go north. Let me break. You just go north, and you get up there between Allijay and Jasper, I suppose, somewhere out that way, and you'll see it on the right-hand side. You can't hardly drive past it without seeing it. So easy to find. You can find it right off of 515/575 if you're heading up from the north. So, and we put the address in the announcements. I think we'll have to put something up on Facebook too, with regard to that, so that we be sure that everybody can find. I tell you, all you gotta do is Google Biggins. That's Biguns, Biggins, and all the information that you could possibly want about their location is there. It's at 362 Carnes Mill Road in Talking Rock. That's to plug into your GPS. That's going to be 30175, and that'll get you there. So looking forward to seeing lots of people at Biggins. You know, Gary, not the one at the end of the table, the Hobbit. Gary has. I was talking with him last night, and Gary has indicated that he's going to have some pretty cool giveaways. So I think that it would be worth showing up just to see if you can come home with a shiny new radio. So definitely worth coming out for that. North Georgia GMRS members will be eligible for the drawings. You're welcome to bring guests, and the others are welcome to attend. But it will be it'll just be members that are eligible for the drawing. So if you're a member, hopefully you'll win.
Well, I remember the cookout and the last year that I attended, with the drawings and winnings, and people were winning antennas and base stations and all kind of radios and everything. So it's going to be some quality stuff.
And we've already disqualified Atlanta 1402, so we don't have to worry about him winning everything or anything. We'll just former winners that are named Todd are ineligible. But everybody else can come on out and have a great time. And Todd, we'll be sure and send you pictures.
That sounds fair enough.
All right. With that, let's see. I've got a roster around here somewhere, and I think we've got other people that have checked in tonight. In fact, one of those people is Atlanta 403. Bobby is at the Vortex. Bobby, do you have any plans coming up soon? You thinking about maybe having a lunch gathering somewhere?
You cut out. Try it again. I don't know if you're overheating the node or whatever, but you keep cutting out. All I heard was Bobby.
Yeah, I'm getting that report from others as well. I suppose if you're having a hard time following us on the air, you might go ahead and fire up YouTube and pull up the audio on YouTube, you might be able to tune in. There's going to be some delay, but at least you can hear what's going on if you go to us on YouTube. It looks like we have a pretty solid bit rate and connectivity by way of YouTube. So just a thought. But Bobby, I was asking if you had any luncheon plans coming up, and if you participate in any fantasy football leagues.
Well, yeah, the luncheon plans. We're going up to the most of the Northeast crew is going to end up at the Biggins thing next week, so that'll be good. And yeah, I still got to get in touch with a few people, but most of our core members for the Northeast bunch that usually meets at Roosters are ready to go. We've made our plans. And as for football, I gave up on the NFL about 5 or 6 years ago when those overpaid crybabies started kneeling and bringing politics into the whole thing. And I washed my hands of regular football. You know, I don't have time for guys making that much money to bring politics into an entertainment thing. So, but you know what they say, when you poke the bear. So that's about it. Back to you, Net Control.
Well, you know, there's a lot of truth to that, Bobby, and there's not very much that can take the joy out of an entertaining program than politics. And that's one of the reasons we try to avoid that topic on the North Georgia GMRS Network, because no matter which side of the fence you're on, there's half the people that are out there are likely to disagree. And it can become very divisive and very just a source of argument. And who needs that in their lives? So we try to steer clear of that as best we can on the North Georgia GMRS Network. And I think because of that, it's helped us to foster some great relationships and a wide range of friends over the air. And a lot of people refer to this as a family environment, and they consider a lot of the people that they meet on the air to be part of the family. And I do too. So, you know, and everybody, that's a funny thing about family, because you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your family. So you got to take it all, right? So we have our favorite family members, we have our favorite on-air personalities. I don't know who they are, but somebody out there. I mean, everybody likes Dana, and everybody likes Bobby, and somebody probably tolerates me from time to time. So we all have our favorites, and then there's the rest of the family, right? Well, it's a package deal, and so we all just have to take the good and the bad, and deal with it, Bobby. That was, I mean, just a general statement. That wasn't just for Bobby. Okay, well then let's go ahead and move on, because I'm sure he's come up with 4 rebuttals by now that I don't want to hear. Next on our list is Atlanta 277, Joel. Joel is in Decatur. Joel, did you have any comments for tonight's net, or any fantasy football or regular football picks that you enjoy?
Well, I think I can give you a little bit of background on the football side of the equation. I was a young boy living in St. Louis in the 60s, and I really was into it. And all of a sudden, one day, a football owner, a rich man I never knew, moved my team to Arizona.
Oh.
And ever since then, call me jaded, I really lost my interest in the pro side of the house. But I was born in Tennessee, went to school in Tennessee, and I still look forward to the day where the delusions of grandeur of 1998 and then before then 1967 can come back and give us a talk.
Well, you know, that's got to be rough. When your favorite team is right there in and amongst your town, and then all of a sudden they get moved. And I know that's happened to a handful of teams over the years. even like the Atlanta Braves, there's a lot of people that are upset about the Atlanta Braves having moved out of Fulton County. Was that Fulton or DeKalb?
That's Fulton. Yeah.
So
Downtown.
that was they're right here in Cobb County. They haven't moved that far. It's still the Atlanta metro area, but it's far enough north now that it's really hard for a lot of people to get to. MARTA doesn't serve that directly, whereas it used to be that you could get on MARTA and you could take it right to the stadium. So that is that's a challenging situation because even though the team didn't move far, they did move out of range and out of reach for some fans. But moving a team to a completely different city or a different state, you're going to lose some fans when you do that. That's disheartening. I would hate for the Falcons to be relocated to another state. That would be tough. It'd be hard to be a Falcons fan after that.
And it would be. And, I think of myself, I'm not a huge football fan, but I do go to games. And, like you said, if it were the Falcons were moved to a different city, I don't know how I would feel about that. Like, could I still be a Falcons fan if they're in Tampa or somewhere that I rarely visit?
Right.
Like, that's not my home team anymore.
Right.
So it doesn't feel like a home team. Now it's, someone that just moved away.
Yeah. And, coming from Indiana, the Colts had a great few seasons just before we came here. But that last year or two that we were in Indiana, they had taken a turn and we're not doing great. But we still felt like we were Colts fans when we got here. But the Falcons were doing great. So it was really easy to transition into being Falcons fans. But, that's... I don't know. I'm not a big enough football fan for me to really go back and say, hey, I'm all in for the Colts. But, if it were the Colts playing the Falcons, I'd have a good time, guys. I don't care who wins.
I'm just saying, you're just there for the hot dogs and everything.
I'm a fan either way, so it's all good. So
the dynamic in the neighborhood that I like to see is when you see one home with competing flags. There's going to be trouble on the deck on Saturday, and I've got like 4 homes in the neighborhood that might fly a Georgia flag and a Tennessee flag on the same. Let me break. But when you see those competing flags, there's going to be, and it's interesting to take a walk on a Saturday when those games are being played and you've got controversy on those decks.
House divided.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's good stuff. And it appears that Dana has additional comments he would like to make. So let's interrupt this football conversation and briefly go check in with Dana.
Now, why do you put it on me? I was texting you. Folks out there, it just came upon my mind that we said a whole lot about the 16th and Biggin's Barbecue, but I don't believe any of us said the time. They open at 10:30, so anytime after 10:30, I'm going to get there between 10:30 and 11 is probably when a lot of us will start showing up. So just use the time that they open at 10:30, and when you get there, you get there.
Yeah, I think Mike read in the announcements that the event was going to start at 11:30. And I think that would be a safe time to kind of plan for getting there around 11:30. You can show up early if you'd like. There's nothing wrong with that. And maybe you want to show up a little bit early and get your order in because we get a bunch of people showing up at the same time. It might take a little bit of time for your food to come out. So that's something worth considering. They open at 10:30, and we can probably grab a couple of tables outside and hang out. I would hope we could go outside and hang out as long as we'd like. So, with that in mind, 10:30 or after, and we'll see you. We'll see you all there. Everybody that's coming should show up. Dana's got nothing to add to that. All right, Dana has nothing to add to that. Joel, did we ever find out what team it was that left? It was, you said, did he say St. Louis? Tell us more about this team that left you high and dry. All right, we'll get the rest of the story from Joel another time. But thanks for that. Thanks for that story, Joel. And yeah, that's a tough one to have your team move out of town. I would break my heart. Next on the list, we have Atlanta 292 Gary in Cleveland. We didn't catch whether you were in and out, Gary. So if you don't mind, we'll just go ahead back to you and see if you have any comments for tonight's net. All right, not hearing anything from Gary. We're going to go ahead and show him as in and out. Atlanta 292. And next we have McDonough 22, Tim in Stockbridge. Tim, we had a rough copy on you earlier, but and I understand you had a rough copy on us. And I see some node stuff happening tonight that I'm not quite sure what to make of. So that might explain some of what you're hearing. But it's been a rough radio day. Anyway, I could hardly hear anything on the ride home this evening, and usually the radio is full of chatter coming out of Midtown. Now, it was a little different time of day, but I know that, like in weeks past, when we're getting ready to go on the air, there's often conversations right up until the time we do go on the air. So it was weird not hearing anything for most of the ride home. So weird radio stuff today. Tim, do you have any comments for the net, provided you can hear us well enough to participate? All right, Tim's having a hard time. Maybe he's watching us on YouTube, and the delay will get him a chance to come to the air. Let's see if that gets him a window here in just a few more seconds. McDonough 22, Tim, go ahead. Well, that didn't work. Okay, well, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and move on. Next on our list, we have Chattanooga 260 Colt up in beautiful downtown Dalton, Georgia. Colt, you want to tell us about your football adventures? Are we even getting out? Makes you wonder sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Should be.
Okay. So, is anybody monitoring the YouTube chat?
Yeah, I've been looking at it. I don't see any comments about us not getting out.
All right. All right. Looks like the chat that I see is from last week, so I'm gonna have to see if I can find this week's chat and catch up with that. Blue Ridge 63, Mike, is there anything from the YouTube chat that you'd like to bring to the air?
This is Blue Ridge 63. Hey, I hear you okay on this end, but are you hearing me all right as well?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you're coming in nice and clean. So, I'm not sure what the issue was when you and I were messing with that node, but maybe since I'm not in the room, you've got clean audio.
Yes, that's definitely it. That's why it sounds good now. in the YouTube chat tonight, not a ton of discussion, but there's certainly some folks repping their teams. Dallas 64 says, go Dogs. David Guthrie says, roll Tide. Oh boy, there's already rivalries in the chat. And there's a few back and forth like that. That seems to be about it tonight.
All right. Well, glad to hear it, and we'll see if anybody else is in the chat that wants to throw something out, and just tag Free Salad there if you want to bring your comments to the air from the YouTube chat. Next on our roster, not hearing anything from Colt. We're going to show him as in and out, and we're going to move on to Cades Cove 30, Ben in Maryville. Ben, do you have any comments for tonight's net and any football favorites you'd like to share? All right, not hearing anything from Ben. We're going to continue on. Next in the list, we have Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth. Pamela, do you have any football favorites you'd like to share?
Well, good evening, football bunch. Tonight, you have hit a hot topic with me, considering I'm female, so I have quite a few things to talk about if you can be patient with me.
All right, Pamela, go ahead.
Well, my football days start back when I was growing up, and it was my special time with my dad because the weather was bad or I couldn't go outside because of whatever. I sat on the couch, and I learned about football and them cute players and what are they doing and why are they doing that and what's a foul and why is the referee doing this. So I had all my questions. I learned a lot and really enjoyed my time then. And I didn't go by the color sometimes, but I did want to watch the good players. Let me break. And then in high school, I went to Wheeler High School area, and they were always pretty much on top football team. And so that was great. And I got fortunately, and I was in the ROTC Army or Air Force drill team at school and was asked to be the girls' commander of the drill team, and we marched with rifles. So I got to perform on the field. Let me break. And also help in the stands. I love to watch the football games and learned about high school. It's really exciting. It's different than watching the college players play. And I did get to perform and walk down Peachtree Street and on the big Peachtree parade back then. And the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the Kansas City Chiefs. When I first saw Patrick Holmes play, there was just something about him. He just had some charisma, and I can't think of his receiver that's so popular anyway that's got the girlfriend. But I like watching them. I like all the teams mostly. Spent some time up in New Hampshire, so I did follow New England Patriots. Break. Now, the fantasy team, I thought about that. I think I'll have to have a talk with Julie, and because I do follow the players, and I listen to what's going on with the football, and I really enjoy it, the challenge. So if you got any questions, I might can help you. But anyway, I probably forgot something. I may come in at the end, but I love football as much as I love those poor Braves this year. Even though they didn't do good, hey, they had 7 or 8 good seasons, and, hey, they'll be back. So I'll throw it back to you if you guys just let me. Big looking forward to coming, and I have a friend that's going to come and join us, so I hope y'all make her feel welcome. Back to the net.
All right. Pamela, do you know what time the luncheon begins at Biggins? Dana wants me to be sure everybody knows what time.
Well, there and get in on the quick. He wants to make sure there's enough food. He don't want everybody to get there too soon because he wants to make sure he has that big old plate full of everything, and he gets time to eat it so he can have time to talk and visit with everybody. Well, we'll probably be there 11:30 when it's supposed to start, coming from the distance that we're coming, and we're bringing a few people with us, and so looking forward, and hopefully there's something left when we get there. And at 11:30 is when it's supposed to start.
Well, this is likely not Dana's first hog roast. I think probably he's been at them a time or two before. You know, the secret to, if somebody's having a hog roast and they tell you to be there to eat around 6, you better not wait till anything later than about 4, because that hog's going to start smelling good and people are going to start picking at it, and come 6 o'clock there won't be nothing left but scraps.
We did the directions, but really you smell biggins before you see biggins.
You really do.
You smell it.
And so that first whiff means you need to slow down and get ready to turn off, because it's coming right up.
Right.
So that's good stuff. So yeah, I think they open at 10:30. We're planning on lunch at 11:30. But if you want to grab an early plate, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you plan on sticking around all day, show up at 11:30, and it might take a little bit for them to get your meal out, but I think they'll be able to take. This is not the first time a big crowd of people have shown up at that place, so they probably won't even notice. So good stuff, and thanks, Pamela. And yeah, I think that maybe Julie will have to get some pointers on picking teams, but quite honestly, I'm not sure she needs it. She can hold her own just the way it is. So very good. Next on the roster we have Noonan 4-0, Orestes in Palmetto. Orestes, do you have any favorite football stories you'd like to tell?
Hey, this is Noonan 4-0. I'm not into football. Now I did get into that. I was involved in sports during high school, but I think the best part of football is the cheerleaders, the beer and the hot dogs, and that's about it for me. Back to you.
Yeah, the hamburgers, the hot dogs, the concession stands, the sights, the sounds, the smells. The high school games, even if it's not my kids' school, being at the high school games and watching the marching bands, play the cadence on their way in, and they're marching. They're just a bunch of kids, but they do it so well and so tight with their marches and with their musicianship, and I really enjoy that part of the game. And of course, at the end when they leave, the cadence they play on the way back to the band room or on the way back to the buses, that's always cool. And what's a lot of fun is when the visiting team brings the band, and the band start playing things back and forth across the field. That's a lot of fun when those kind of games and those kind of rivalries come out. So very good stuff. And I think the sights, the sounds, and the smells, and the concession stand. And the other thing, concessions, they used to be, I don't know if they still are, but they used to be so cheap at these games. And the marching band boosters got to run the concession stand at our school on the away side of the field, and the football boosters ran concessions on the home side. And one of the things that I always marveled at was how much money you could bring in concessions. Now, of course, we're not paying employees to serve the food. That's all volunteers. But when you can draw profit out of food, you can sell hot dogs for $2 and make about $1.50 a hot dog. It's really impressive how much money the concession stands can generate from sodas and from chips and from candy bars and hot dogs and hamburgers. And that's a nice little boost to the fundraising element there. You think we ought to open a concession stand up there at Flagship?
Okay, that's an idea.
Yeah,
That's an idea.
Yeah.
But you're talking about your Friday night high school games. There was competition between the band booster concession and the football booster concession. You might have gotten extra treats in the band booster concession than you might not get in the football. It was competition between the two trailers.
So whenever we were at an away game, I always asked if the band boosters got any concessions credits, and from which concession stand. Because sometimes there's a couple places we went to. There's only one concession. There's only one place, and it was kind of at the infield in the middle. Let me break. But in some places they do. They have a concession stand on each side, and it's not always home or away, one versus the other. So I don't know how they decide, but I would always ask, and I would always go find the one that supported the band booster if they had one. I can think of a couple of places that we went where there was just one concession stand, and one school in particular. I want to say it was Cal, but maybe I'm wrong. It wasn't the booster club running the concessions. It was a third party, and it was like a vendor service kind of a corporation, kind of like what we might have at the Brave Stadium or at Mercedes-Benz. Just a company that comes in and provides that function. So I don't know if they couldn't get volunteers or why they would do that, because I think that once you bring a company in a situation like that, you're not going to make any money. I'm not sure why we have a green light. All right. And I think that might be why people are hearing us drop out, because we're being, whatever that is getting us.
Yeah.
But it's not showing up. We may have to have our network engineer dig into this. All right. I'm not entirely sure we're getting out. Can anyone hear me? See, we're not getting a key. Yeah.
But it's not a carrier, though, is it? I mean, it's not. I don't see another node.
All right. Not sure what that technical snafu was, but we are having some issues here. So, looks like we're back. So we're going to continue on. We are at the end of the roster, so let me go through and acknowledge our YouTube check-ins real quick. We have WRQE398, R. Ferguson from Hayesville, Kansas, is a YouTube check-in tonight. Atlanta 379, Scott in Sandy Creek, New York, is a YouTube check-in. Chattanooga 84, Jim in Hickson, checking in on YouTube. Chattanooga 69, Ronnie the Velvet Elvis, is checking in from Las Vegas. And we have Atlanta 420, William in Roswell, says, happy birthday to Ann. Atlanta 421, happy birthday, Ann. Glad to have you along tonight. We also have Rome 11, Mark in Adairsville, YouTube check-in. Guest check-in from WRUJ962, Mr. Roman in northern Idaho. Gainesville 58, Jonathan in Oakwood, also a YouTube check-in. That's the end of the roster. So with that in mind, we're going to take one last round of additional check-ins from any repeater anywhere. And any questions or comments, if you got skipped or if you checked in and out and you'd like to jump back in, now's your chance. Net Control, standing by. I think I'm beginning to understand what that receive light was about. Is that radio on in the cabinet right beside you there, Gary?
Yes.
Okay. That's where our receive's coming from. Probably off that radio. Is it showing receive right now?
I see a radio that says volume in the display.
Okay. And can you tell if it's receiving on its display?
I can't tell.
Okay.
I can't get into it either. Yeah, I think it is, because when that carrier dipped then.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that's our blue as well, and I know how to fix that, but we have to unlock the cabinet to be able to turn that radio off.
Okay.
All right. Mystery solved. We've got it figured out. Technical challenges. So even though that radio is not potted up, it's receiving, and it's causing us not to be able to get the PTT.
Yeah.
All right, only saw the one attempted check-in from WSJI648. We didn't hear a name with that, but we've got WSJI648 in the log, and that's going to be it. So no one with additional questions or comments. I'm going to go ahead and break one more time for questions, comments, late check-ins.
Atlanta 849 with a comment. Maybe you didn't catch me the first time.
I was afraid of that.
W497, Chattanooga 139. This is Robert Ringgold, in and out.
That other radio in the cabinet is off.
So there's two radios. There's a VHF and a UHF.
Okay.
And so any traffic that's coming over ball ground, or actually monument, it says ball ground, but it's tuned to monument.
Okay.
So any traffic that's occurring over there is activating the receive on that radio, which activates the receive here.
To the GMRS community and aware that this is a members-only repeater. I was just looking for some information about how to join and what North Georgia is all about.
A little recording guy.
Last station, audio was super, super low, but I think what I heard is that you're looking for some information on how to join. So stick around, and I'll talk about that here in just a few minutes once we get past these check-ins. Your audio was low, and I don't know if you gave us a call sign or not, but if you want to come back with a call sign, we'll get you added to the roster, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. I'm being told that you are the WSJI648. So if you would please just come back with your first name, and we'll come back to you here in just a moment.
Copy that. First name is Matthew.
All right, Matthew, stick around here for just a moment. I want to go to Atlanta 849. Pamela always has something interesting to say, and she likes to save it for the very end. So, Pamela, what are your comments for tonight's net?
Well, thank you for that, Justin. I appreciate that and all the hard work y'all do there. You had to switch things up tonight, but hey, it worked. I'm curious, what happened to Atlanta 1402? He's our Georgia Bulldog guy. Usually, I missed him. I didn't hear him. And I did comment on his tonight earlier on the Facebook about Uncle Mike, and him used to always talk about it. And Uncle Mike was my first contact, and I always enjoyed listening to them talk football. And I put a comment in there occasionally. Me break is I read the big uns that they have some fried apple pies, and I haven't had one of those in years. So, hey, I'm looking forward to them fried apple pies. So I hope they have some when I get there, because I'll probably take a couple home. Anyway, I enjoyed it tonight, and I just want to make sure we covered the Georgia. And I'll pass it back to you.
Well, I have to comment about 1402 because Todd did check in tonight, but what seems to happen is that the net starts right around the time that Todd puts food on the grill. And I think that that too many times it's been time to eat right around the time that Todd gets called. So rather than take a chance of having to speak on the radio and let his food get cold because Todd can't be brief, he just chooses to check in and out and let us say things about him that he can't rebut. So with that in mind, we can say anything about Todd with confidence that he's listening, but he's not going to respond because the food is so good. So I think that's the whole Todd thing. And then with regard to the fried apple pie, my first experience in Georgia with fried apple pie was once upon a time up around Flagship on a work day. This old Indian-looking fella showed up with a bag full of fried apple pies as a snack for the people that were up there volunteering and working at Flagship. And Uncle Mike from up around Cherry Log loved to show up with a bag of apples and a handful of fried apple pies and other assorted snacks for those that are working the project. And his way of saying thanks for doing what you do and being a part of things. So hopefully there will be a sighting of BR549 at Biggins Barbecue a week from Saturday. I haven't heard from him to know for sure, but I do hope that we do get a chance to visit with Uncle Mike from up around Cherry Log, and we can share some time around a couple of those fried apple pies.
And speaking of fried apple pies, my first job when I was like 15, McDonald's. And, I don't know if they still have them today, but back in the day, they had those fried apple pies that you can get as a dessert.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably had eaten, 100 of those things. And I ate so many of them. Like, I didn't eat any for years upon years, but they always came out hot, and they were pretty good.
They were pretty good. I haven't had any lately, but, there was a time when you could get two of them for $1. I don't think you can get one for $1 anymore. But back in the two for $1 days, I would get me $1 worth, and the challenge was because they were so stinking hot you could hardly put them in your mouth, right?
They would burn my fingers sometimes. They're so hot.
But okay, so they're so stinking hot you can't put them in your mouth. But once you've eaten the first one, the second one's already cold. It's already cold.
Yeah.
How do you even do that? Let me break. All right, so let's go then next to Matthew, WSJI648, and we'll talk a little bit about how to become a member of North Georgia GMRS. Of course, one thing I'd like for you to know, Matthew, is that we always accept guest check-ins from non-members in the North Georgia GMRS nets. So there's the net that we're holding tonight. There'll be a net tomorrow night with the Friday Night at 9 group on the GMRS side, as well as a net on, let's see, when's the next rabbit hole? Is that this Monday or the next? I've lost track. Every other Monday, no, that's every other Sunday we have a rabbit hole net. We don't have a net on Mondays currently. Tuesday, we have a net on the northern region of the network, and that is a Skywarn net. That's for the northern region only, so you won't hear that on the flagship repeater. Let me break. Wednesdays is the ERC net, and that is a net for the LDS Church. They have it's sort of a check-in net where they just check in to be sure that their radios work and that they can communicate if they need to. Just a test exercise for them. And then Thursday is a net where this guy rambles on that doesn't know anything about anything, but that doesn't keep him from talking all night long. Oh, that's me. So you're here. But if you want more information about joining the network and becoming a member, you can check out NGGMRS.org. That's North Georgia GMRS.org. And that website will give you lots of information about who we are, what we do, some of the nets that we hold, and some of the stuff that's going on in and around North Georgia GMRS. One of the things that's coming up soon that I want to talk about is the Chattanooga GMRS Fest. All right, so coming up very soon in October, I believe that's the 3rd and 4th. We'll find out here in just a minute when they pull the graphic up. October 3rd and 4th, the Chattanooga GMRS Fest. It's also a ham fest. We're going to be co-hosting that event with the Chattanooga Amateur Radio Club, and soon we'll have a list of volunteers. We have a great number of forums that will be presented from North Georgia GMRS membership. We'll have Dallas 2-0 and Dallas 21 presenting and net. I think their topic is radio and preparedness, something to that effect. Atlanta 255 is planning to host a net, and that'll be, I think it's going to be how to make a dipole. Let me break. Also, our very own Atlanta 557, Dr. Ed Fong, will be up there. He's going to present a net. He might present 2 forums on Meshtastic. So he'll be there Friday, and possibly Friday and Saturday for the forums. So we have lots of presenters, and I told the organizers that if they need to fill a hole, that I would take a slot. So I don't know what the schedule is yet for all of those forums, but there's going to be lots of presenters from North Georgia GMRS at the Chattanooga Ham Fest. It's the Chattanooga GMRS Fest, and also a ham fest. So be sure and mark that on your calendar. Lots of opportunities to meet folks from North Georgia GMRS. I'm hoping to meet Colt while we're up there. And Colt, if you'll send me an email, I'll probably have some tasks for you to do. So we'll get in contact and we'll figure out what that's going to look like coming up. So that email would go, where would that email go, Rogers?
That will go to Justin at North Georgia GMRS.org.
So that would be NGGMRS.
NG, yes.
Yeah. So Justin at NGGMRS.org will get that email to me, and then I'll respond to that. We'll figure things out. So, Colt, if you'll send me something. Anybody else that wants to volunteer or contribute to the first GMRS Fest? I'm not aware of any other GMRS Fest ever anywhere. So if somebody can tell me that there was one before ours, please let me know. I'm likely going to ignore that, but go ahead and tell me anyway, and we'll see what we can come up with. But that's going to be, Matthew, that's going to be your best bet, is to go to that website. There are places where you can click on our website that will take you right to becoming a member of the North Georgia GMRS network. But please, before you jump in full-fledged, listen and enjoy the network. Check in on a couple of our nets, just like you did tonight. Your audio was low, so if we missed you, it might be because when you look at your microphone gain, or you need to get closer to your radio or something. But other than that, your signal was very clear. So I think that you're most of the way there towards getting that. And love to have you as part of North Georgia GMRS. But definitely participate in some of the nets and get a feel for how your radio performs on the network. And anybody else that is thinking about, if you're just out there lurking, and you don't want to come on the air because you don't want to pay the dues. If you're a guest, I'd love for you to come on at least a couple of times before you become a member. Let me break. And if you go back to listening, that's okay. But if this is something you feel like that you want to be a part of and you want to support what we do, then we'd love to have you as a contributing member to the network. Another great place for information about becoming a member, or a great place to just ask new user questions, is our Facebook page. So if you just go to Facebook and search for North Georgia GMRS Network, our page will pop up, and there'll be lots of opportunities for you to kind of scroll through and see some of the things that people have asked before. If you have questions, feel free to ask them on there. Our members will jump in and try to give you good, helpful advice without beating you up for asking silly questions or things like that. So definitely check out the Facebook page. And like I say, it's a great place to ask questions, get information about things that are going on. And things that are going on, would include a lunch a week from Saturday at Biggins. So definitely check that out. Also, if you're looking for a radio for use in the GMRS network or just for GMRS use at all, check out Hobbit Communications. That's 2 B's, 2 T's, 1 word, hobbitcommunications.com. At hobbitcommunications.com, we have radios that are very specifically oriented for GMRS use. They are Part 90 radios, commercial duty, commercial class, 3-year warranty radios, and they will serve you very, very well. Now, with only a 1-year warranty, you can kind of downgrade from the Kenwood radio into an Anytone. But Anytone is available now at Hobbit Communications as well. But that's a 1-year warranty radio. The solid radios carry that 3-year warranty that you'll never exercise. So check out Hobbit Communications. And, have I missed anything?
I think you got it all.
All right, then. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and close things up. But before we can do that, I have to find the script because I can never remember what I'm supposed to say. This concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we had a total, let's check in with Blue Ridge 63 and see if we can get the numbers right.
Tonight we had a total of 64 chickens.
Well, that's like a side salad of chickens then, isn't it?
It's a Blue Ridge 64 side salad of chickens, yes.
All right, well, that is the official number from the official log data entry expert. So thank you for helping out with that, Mike, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Actually, I'm probably going to see you tomorrow afternoon. So we can chat about that later if you want, or tomorrow if that makes more sense. Meanwhile, don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, comments on the YouTube channel show engagement with the video and help the channel grow. Net Control will now be returning the repeaters back to normal use. Everyone who signed in should sign out. And I have to get my other page to this other page so I can see what next week's topic is. Looks like next week we are going to talk about Jeep Fest prep. Who's going and what's the plan? So we'll kick off our Jeep Fest activities next week. And until then, thank you for allowing us to serve as your net control. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946 WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
And this is WSAL 368, Atlanta 263. My name is Rogers.
And this is WRUB 711, Atlanta 519. My name is Gary.
We are North Georgia GMRS Network.
And we are clear.
He's got it down now. All right. Free salad. It's all yours.
And this is WRWM 344 Blue Ridge 63, and I'm clear.